Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to the war camp. We're picking up with our Gettysburg campaign. We're still on day 1 at about 2 in the afternoon. And if you look at this chart, you can see how many forces we have available, man and guns, and also how many reinforcements we're getting. Now, if you look at that, we are getting a lot more reinforcements than the enemy. Most of the Confederate 2nd and 3rd Corps will be arriving on the field, and we are going to use them to drive the Union Army off the field. You can take a look there at the text and read that if you want to. Go ahead and pause it now if you like to do that. We're going to go ahead and continue. Okay, so a lot of my units have been hammered. They've been fighting all morning and early afternoon, so we will not be engaging in an offensive with this with the units that I have now, at least not yet. Let me go ahead and move units into position. So this will be a little bit slow, at least at first, but it will pick up after that, I promise. I'm going to move all of our forces forward. I'm going to move all of our artillery forward. There's already a spirited artillery duel going on. I'm going to wait for reinforcements. I'm going to wait for more of 2nd Corps to arrive under General Ewell's 2nd Corps. The Union has taken up strong fortifications. This is Culps Hill, worth 4,000 victory points. And of course we've got Cemetery Hill, worth 4,000 as well. Our goal is to drive the Federal Army out of both of those positions. And as I said before, we do not have the manpower for that right now, but that will change. While we're waiting for my units to get into position, I want to go ahead and talk about 3rd Corps General Lieutenant General Ambrose Powell Hill, AP Hill, often called Little Powell by the rank and file. He was very much a loved general by the rank and file. Had altercations with both General Longstreet after the 7 Days battles, and was actually imprisoned for a short time, and with Lieutenant General Jackson, and those two had a rivalry that lasted since their days at West Point. Jackson was a very religious man, very devout, whereas Ambrose Powell Hill loved to party. And that shows because he contracted a gift that keeps on giving, and not in a fun way. It is widely believed that the STD that he contracted while at West Point with one of the ladies there, obviously not at West Point, but in the town outside of it, it's widely suspected that it was gonorrhea, and that would actually plague his health for the rest of his life. So right around the start of the Gettysburg campaign, Lee reorganized his army from 2 corps to 3 corps. Jackson was dead, and he needed 2 new corps commanders, and one of those became Lieutenant General Ambrose Powell Hill. And the reason for that was because, well, there were numerous early achievements. Ambrose Powell Hill, his units fought very well at the 7 Days battles, and most notably at Antietam, he actually saved Lee's entire right flank. He arrived on the field of battle in the nick of time, and he managed to repel Federal forces and save Lee's army that day. So, and he performed well in other battles too, like Cedar Mountain. In that battle, he saved the Confederate left flank. So these achievements and more are what earned him the title of Lieutenant General. Like I said, he's very popular among the men. He wore a red hunting shirt into battle, and whenever he put that shirt on, the men knew that, his corps, the people that saw him, knew that the corps was going into battle. He was fairly aggressive, but like I said, he was going to suffer from health problems. After the Battle of Gettysburg, his career kind of went south a little bit. His units it's not his unit's fault, but under his command, the Confederate units did not perform well at the Battle of Mine Run, which was the last real engagement between the Army of Northern Virginia and the Army of the Potomac in 1863. And then he was sick on and off, 1864 to 1865. Okay, reinforcements coming, that's great. And he actually died during the Third Battle of Petersburg, a very long siege between Grant's army and Lee's. He died April 2nd, 1865, when he was shot through the heart by a Union corporal. And in other videos, we will go ahead and discuss other Confederate generals, such as Longstreet, Ewell, and Lee himself, of course. But for now, we need to focus our attention on defeating the Union forces. We have our artillery. I think I've moved forward all of my batteries. Yes, we have indeed. That's good. Alright, so General Rhodes and his forces are arriving as well. That's excellent news. Very excellent news, because we definitely need these men. We're going to move them south. Ooh, fresh artillery. I like that. Let's move these artillery batteries forward. Oops, I missed. Come on, Reese. We need your battery this way. Alright, so these fresh brigades are going to be very helpful, but we're still not going to attack. I'm getting into position. I want to hammer the Federal main line as best I can with artillery in the meantime. Checking the line of sight to make sure that our forces can hit, and they can. The big target here that I want to take is Culps Hill. If I can get artillery on top of Culps Hill, I can bombard the entire Federal position around Cemetery Hill. But what I need to wait for is additional reinforcements that I can use to assault down by Benner's Hill and the Chris Benner farm. So that gives me time to put my units in even better positions. Grimsir is going to be, if that's how you pronounce his name, his brigade is going to be in reserve, and it's a very strong brigade. Generally, brigades were made up of between 4,000 and 5,000 men, sometimes more, sometimes less, but generally 4,000 to 5,000 men. However, at this phase of the war, you were seeing much, much smaller brigades. General Pickett's, we'll talk about him later. You may know of him from Pickett's Charge. The name is not exactly accurate because he only made up one division. The other two were commanded by well, they weren't commanded by, but they were from A.P. Hill's Corps, 3rd Corps, the general we were just talking about, but it was commanded by Longstreet, so I suppose it's more accurate to call it Longstreet's assault, although it is worth noting that Longstreet did not want to command the attack. He did not believe it would succeed from the very beginning. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll talk more about that later. Ooh, whoops, I did not mean to do that. All right. General Early and his forces, as well, General Ewell, elements of his 2nd Corps are arriving on the field, and we are going to go ahead and push south towards Benner's Hill. Artillery is opening up all along the line. That's a beautiful sight. I think we're going to get some more reinforcements. I think. Hold off, hold off. Don't get too reckless. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to try and force these Union forces off of Culps Hill. I want them to engage us, and so we are going to go ahead and move now that our forces are getting into position. All right, we got General John B. Gordon and his brigade. John B. Gordon was from Georgia. I've studied him a lot just because he's from where I am. Fought very well at the Battle of Manassas, was actually shot 6 times by the sunken road, leading his men and their defensive efforts there, and he would not allow himself to be carried off the field of battle until he had been shot 6 times. He recovered, obviously, and he would go on to serve Lee very well in 1864. Survived the war, and he was really key in helping to get federal troops out of Georgia during the Reconstruction period. Let's go ahead and move artillery. Oh, I did not mean to click that, darn it. Alright, let's I clicked the wrong thing. I meant to move this artillery. There we go. Alright, here we go. Ooh, move back, skirmishers, you guys. Oh, good. Artillery. Just what I needed. Oops, I thought I mass-clicked you guys. There we go. And let's bring you down to support the battle. Alright, we are assaulting the Federals from multiple positions. We are actually driving... Oh, good. These guys are coming down off the field. That suits me just fine. Alright, you guys gotta move forward, though. We need you here fast. Run, please. Oh, man. Alright, we're going to assault them. This... Schimmerfengen? I cannot pronounce his name properly. Anyway, Dole's brigade, Garber's guns, as well as Ewell's sharpshooters are all going to engage him. We'll let Green's battery do some damage as well. John Gordon, we're going to have him attack as well. I'm going to use O'Neill's brigade to knock out Union Hall's battery. Union Hall. Union Artillery under Hall. Alright, artillery. I'm just reassigning some new targets. Pettigrew, go ahead and move up. You will very much be needed. Move up, move up, move up. Come on, General. Come on, boys. Destroy them. Destroy that battery. We need it gone. Oh, they are not making it easy. That is for sure. Alright, Dole, charge in. Their backs are turned. Hit them from the rear. Oh, the Louisiana Tigers are falling back. We should be able to rout this Federal brigade. Oh, they held their ground. Are they holding their ground? They are holding their ground. I had not expected that. Nope. Okay, good. They are falling back now. That's fantastic. Alright, guys. Keep driving the enemy. Louisiana Tigers. Go ahead and go this way. going? Are they charging at us, or what's going on there? I don't know. All right, we are close to taking Culps Hill. All right, come on, General Gordon, I need you. I believe in you guys. You can do this. Nice. They're actually advancing. Looks like they're going to charge into the Louisiana Tigers. But that is going to give us a path all the way to the top of Culps Hill. That's good. Alright, my remaining brigades and this flank, go ahead and destroy them. Yeah, now we're racking up the kills. Good, they are falling back. We're driving off Union cavalry as well. Oh, nice. We're doing very well. Alright, go ahead. I want you to charge. Not charge, I'm sorry. I want you to take out those federal guns. Yes, this is fantastic. Culps Hill is within our reach. Louisiana Tigers move up. We're going to go ahead and move artillery as well. Alright boys, I want you to charge down. I keep saying charge. I want you to advance. This is where we break the federal line and force them south of the town. Oh man, Scales is taking, Brigadier General Scales is taking withering fire from Federal artillery. We're trying to knock out that battery. So far we haven't had much luck. Federals are trying to reinforce Culps Hill. So far I think we're going to be able to hold on to it, especially as we are starting to drive Federal forces back. That's what I like to see. We have secured Culps Hill. We have the high ground. Let's get some artillery into position. Alright, good. Scales has destroyed the Federal artillery. What remains of the Bucktail Brigade is going to be driven back, and the Union is setting up artillery positions around Cemetery Hill. Really need to move all of my artillery forward. Including the Corps Commander. Alright, here we go. The enemy is falling back. We are forcing them into a tight pocket. Scales Brigade has taken a lot of casualties, but they have inflicted a lot of casualties as well. I am very pleased with his performance, or the performance of his men, I should say. Our commander leads, but it's up to the soldiers to do the heavy lifting, so to say. Yes, fall back. That's exactly what I want you to do. All right, we're going to take some heavy artillery fire, I believe. Let's go ahead and move additional artillery forward. I'm being a little bit reckless with my artillery, but I want to make sure that they have good line of sight. The Federal forces, all right, we are collapsing their flanks. This is fantastic. Okay, keep moving, guys. Man, that's a lot of Federal troops, but they're not attempting to really climb up the mountain, and that's perfectly okay with me. Oh, canister fire. Oh, man, that hurts. That hurts a lot. But we're continuing to drive them. I believe the fact that they're being assaulted from what is essentially 3 different directions, I think that they're going to fall back very quickly. All right, look, we're taking it. We are taking it, guys. And girls, if there's any girls that watch this, that's cool too. All right, we got some skirmishers holding it, but by and large, we are... Nope, everybody's falling back. This is where we start racking up the kills. The offensive, always costs more manpower, waging offensives. But when you drive the enemy like this, this is where you get revenge kills. And we are certainly hammering them. All right, we have secured the objective, guys. This is fantastic news. I'm going to go ahead and move all available forces further in. The Union is just falling back in disarray. This is amazing. They've got a lot of manpower, but just not a lot of coordination. We're facing the brunt of the 11th and 1st Union Corps. The 11th Corps was known for its lack of discipline in regards to the other corps of the Army. It was made up of mainly German immigrants that didn't quite have the stake of winning the war that some of the other corps had. I mean, General Oliver Howard was not a bad field commander. He actually lost an arm, and would go on to command forces in the Tennessee, Georgia region later in the war under Sherman. So he wasn't a terrible corps commander, but the 11th Corps was known for its lack of discipline. So I guess that's being represented here by the fact that their superior forces in numbers, well, I guess no, actually we outnumber them in total numbers, but there's just a lack of coordination, and we are driving them back in all fronts. Scales is just, you can't stop this guy. Down to 590 men, and he is just wrecking these guys. The enemy, or as Robert E. Lee often said, those people. That's how he often referred to the enemy, Southern gentleman that he was. Not flawless, but certainly a good field commander that we'll talk about at some point. Alright, so the Union line has somewhat stabilized, and I am neglecting to bring forward my artillery. I need to keep pace. I need to be better about multitasking. Just withering fire. Both what we're enduring and what we're inflicting. But we have a firm battle line. We firmly have these objectives. And it looks like our army and the enemies are exhausted, so we're going to probably let them rest for the rest of the night. Let's get a couple of good kills if we can still, as the Union Army continues to fight and try and hold its position. But they're already out of position. They've lost Culps Hill and Cemetery Hill. So I would call that a very good day's work. I'm cringing thinking about what our casualties are going to be, unfortunately. I guess we'll see. But I definitely have to say MVP, Brigadier General Scales, man, his unit did well. Yeah, he lost about 814, but he killed 887. I say he, you know I mean his unit. So that's good. Continuing to force the Federal Army back, that's glorious. I love watching routes like that. Alright guys, look at that. Epic victory. We have achieved all of our objectives. Oh, but our losses were high. We lost 7,502 compared to federal losses of 5,300. Man. But we captured all those objectives and we're going to be able to hold them. And man, that was good. That was good. Really good. So I'll go ahead and stop here and we'll pick it up with the next battle next time. As always, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, whatever you want to, and let me know what you think about these battles. If you have any friends that are into this sort of thing, recommend them to my channel. I really appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys next time.